The era of boring cars is ending. Video by Bemfa. What can you say is ruining modern day cars? First thing that comes into my mind is EVs. They just take the soul out of a car. You could argue tech, but no, I think interior wise, I like the modern day interiors. I do understand if you turn off stuff like traction control and it still has some involvement, that can be annoying. Another thing I'd say that's ruining cars is modern day rules and regulations. And that's why you got a lot of cars nowadays just looking like bugs or looking very similar because everything has to meet a certain requirement. The title of this video suggests the opposite, so let's dive in.
Look at this. This shouldn't be happening.
And straight away, the new Toyota. I like the look of this. It is nice. Just reminds me of a Dodge Viper, but a Japanese version. It is unique. I don't think they've made a GT car in long. I know that there is a track version that has the spoiler. The simple clean one I like.
Right now. And neither should this.
Mercedes has dropped. Yeah, this was just stupid in their C63 put in a smaller engine. I mean, I don't know why they're surprised that no one's buying it. I think it was just a stupid move. Maybe it was just to promote their CLE 53 because I know they wanted to turn their CLEs into the coupes.
Or this.
The Hemi V8 is back. I mean, that is surprising to know V8 engines are back since everything's just going hybrid and then small engines are being put into cars which you'd think would have a big one.
Or this.
Porsche backflips to give electric cars petrol engines. I mean, it makes sense. When you think of a 911 Turbo S, you're thinking of that noise. You wouldn't want something that's silent because that would just be soulless.
These are all headlines from this year.
VW brings back physical buttons. I mean, that's what people wanted because those weird touch buttons that they have in the new Golfs, some people say that they do feel premium, but I just think a physical button where you actually click it and it's clicky, it feels 100 times better. I mean, yes, if it was a cheap button that they just produced to cut costs, then yeah, the touch thingy would feel more premium, but a normal mechanical button that is high quality will always be better.
Individually, they're exciting.
Europe changes its mind, won't ban combustion engines after all. Good. I don't understand this idea of electric cars are good for the environment. I mean, once a battery's dead, what do you think's happening with it? It's going to landfill.
But once you look at all of them together, they kind of stop making sense. Because this is not where the industry is supposed to go, right? We were supposed to get more EVs, less engines, less buttons, not complete opposite.
Yeah, because of modern day regulations.
Trying to understand why so many companies are doing what they're doing. And at first I was like, okay, EV sales are slowing down, people are tired of touchscreens.
And I think the main reason why people were buying EVs in the first place was just because of the fact that the government was subsidizing it. Now that the subsidies are gone, Elon Musk is wondering why there's so many Cybertrucks not being bought. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Or companies just want attention with big dramatic headlines.
Yeah, that was just stupid from Jaguar, but again, getting into that is just a whole nother video. That's a rant in itself.
And yeah, all of that plays
It's good that they done the U-turn.
Underneath those surface level explanations, something much bigger is going on. Something that's been building for more than a decade now. So today, I'm gonna break that down. How we even got here, what forces likely pushed companies into making these decisions now, and why all of that might mean that cars are about to get fun again.
Fun to drive. Fun to drive.
Emotion.
Identity.
This is an abrupt turnaround for Volkswagen.
V8 engines.
Tradition. Doing it again.
Bring back comeback.
Come back.
We are back, baby.
But to understand why all of this is happening now, we have to go back to a decade that set all of this in motion. The 2010s, where every automaker in the world woke up to the same problem. Emissions rules tightened. Again.
That's when disaster started.
Sports cars or family hatchbacks. The rules left almost no room for the kind of cars you wanted to build. So you start adjusting. You had turbos, you had filters, you had hybrid systems. Not because it fits your brand, but because legally you don't have another option. Elon Musk wakes up one day and sticks a giant iPad in the car. You try to hold on to your DNA. You try the middle ground.
I mean, here's the thing, with the iPads, I do understand. When it comes to modern day screens in cars, some people hate the fact of dashing a tablet right here, but I think it makes sense. If you look at older cars, they have their screen all the way low down here, and I think that's just weird. When you're driving, you got to sort of look down, whereas when there's an actual tablet next to you or some sort of screen, it's a lot easier to turn your head, not even turn your head, but turn your eyes a little to the right and see what it is. I'd have to say a tablet in the center is good, Would you rather have a screen down here or at the top where it's more centered? I think aesthetically it looks much nicer like this.
But as soon as buyers walk into a Tesla showroom and see that minimalistic spaceship vibe, everything else feels old. So now you have to stick a giant screen in your car as well. Go all in on software, build operating.
I mean, one thing you could argue about these screens is in like what, 5 years from now, car interiors are going to look really dated. If you look at cars like the R8 or the TT, sure there's many more, I can't think of it on top of my head. A lot of the cars do not look like they've aged because they don't have a screen in the middle.
Operating systems, hire teams, and overnight you went from running a car company to a tech startup. And you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, some people would refer to Tesla as a tech company, but come on, like I wouldn't say that. When you think of Tesla, you think of an electric car. They were what, like the main company that broke into the electric market?
Governments announce bans on internal combustion engines. Zero emission zones appear. Tesla stock goes vertical. So now you have to spend more money than you ever spent before on anything, on new factories, new platforms, cut costs on your cars to be able to make a profit. And slowly but surely, your brand identity becomes 4 numbers. Range, charging speed, kilowatts, and 0 to 60. Everything else, the things that made your brand, not important right now.
I mean, I've never owned a Tesla, but I hear too many Tesla owners say that the interiors, yeah, the minimalistic thing, maybe either you like it or you don't. I personally like it. They say the quality of it is bad. Everything's just low quality, it falls apart. I don't know how true that is.
And by the time you finish doing everything right, you've ended up building the exact same car everyone...
Yeah, a lot of them look so similar. That's what I was talking about, like modern day cars, it's just nasty. They just look like bugs. It's all because of regulations.
Technically perfect, but same. But what does that have to do with fun cars coming back? Well, everything. Because once every brand ends up in the same place, selling the same shapes, the same screens, the same numbers, there's only one thing holding the whole system together.
I mean, at that point, there's not really an incentive to really get a new car or move to another brand because, oh, this stands out if everything's the same.
Price you can charge for it. And that works, right up until the moment someone else walks in and does the exact same thing you do for half the price.
Yo, have you seen these Chinese
And then
electric
quality,
cars?
yeah, Chinese cars are crazy.
Electric vehicles.
It's a shame they ain't over here in the UK.
Good.
That amount of performance for the money, not bad. Medium-priced vehicles.
I mean, you gotta think, imagine they came into America. Yeah, Tesla would just be out of business.
They're simply amazing.
They introduced massive capacity, pushed their products into Europe, the United States.
They're leaving the rest of the world in electric shock.
Companies are using price as a weapon. They're very affordable.
So are we cooked? Not yet, but you can see how we could be soon.
Definitely, but Trump's not gonna let it come in to the US.
Yo, what's this spaceship? Where did this come from? Now, every time someone I know buys a new car, it's either a Dongfeng 14, Geely Coolray, or an MG. Because
Yeah,
it
it
just
just look very
makes
similar.
more sense. BYD sold 4.25 million cars last year, 10 times more than in 2020. This September,
They've been
their
really
sales went
popping
up
off
by
like the last year.
272% just in Europe. Tesla, on the other hand, minus 10.5.
Yeah, that's not
Europe
good.
even put tariffs up to 35% on Chinese cars, and they're still cheaper than most local brands. When a 31,000 euro MG4 feels 99% like a 40,000 euro Volkswagen ID3, yeah, that's game over. And Volkswagen even reduced the prices on the ID3, and they're still more expensive, with smaller battery and fewer features. And at this point, the average buyer doesn't ask which one is engineered better. You know, they ask, why am I paying extra 10 grand for this badge? Which, to be honest, at this point, it's just a badge. Because everything that made you want to buy that badge disappeared over the last decade.
I hear this a lot where people say, oh yeah, you're only buying like a BMW or Mercedes because of the badge and it's flashy. But honestly, I don't think everyone's like that. I think some people genuinely like the brand. They don't care about showing off. That's why they buy it. I just think it's a bad thing to assume just because you buy a car that has a good branding that you're doing it to show off.
And this brings us to the real question every buyer is asking right now. What makes a car worth choosing if the cheaper one gives you the same thing? And if you don't...
Well, it's quality, ain't it? Because that's where the cheap one's going to lack. You got to think about looks as well. Out of these two cars, I see nicer one is definitely the MG on the left. The VW, it just looks disgusting.
have a great answer to that, you're f***ed. And car companies know it. Listen to the Volkswagen CEO.
When I talk to the team, what do we have to do to make true Volkswagens again? And it says about design, it's about quality, it's about intuitive operation, buttons on the steering wheel and so on. You got to stay modern, got to stay ahead of the curve, but you got to stay true to the brand too.
Ahead of the curve isn't always a good thing. Like, look at all the bug cars.
Different kind of operation. You have to defend the profit per car, and this comes by cost saving, but also by having exciting products that excite our customers and want to buy them. It's not just about lowering prices. That's never going to be the right path.
In other words, we can't beat China on price or tech, but we can beat them at one thing they don't have: identity, history,
of course,
character, excitement, fun. Not because that's a trendy thing to do now, or a nostalgia, but because it's the only strategy left. And once you see that, every weird decision, every comeback engine, every retro EV hatchback starts making perfect sense. And since we're already talking about them, let's start with Volkswagen. They basically walked out on stage and said, yeah, sorry about the whole touchscreen era. Turns out,
yeah, that was bad.
It's a car. No shit! Their whole big plan for the next few years is a bunch of exciting new models. And exciting in Volkswagen language means stuff like a new electric Polo, an electric Polo GTI, which actually does look exciting. But notice how they're calling it ID Polo, not ID C3PO R2D2.
What are you talking about?
This is Volkswagen saying, okay, we tried being a tech company, didn't work, let's be Volkswagen again. And then there's the big one, ID Everyone. A 20,000 euro electric hatchback that's basically Volkswagen saying, this is who we are, we make cars for the people. It's not W12's coming back, but it is a brand grabbing a piece of its identity and pulling it into the EV era. And that's better than nothing. This is what Genetic Rescue...
The way I see it is, if they just keep their EVs separate, then it's not a problem. When they just start trying to force EVs into everything, that's when it is.
As I call it, looks like for a mainstream brand, not supercars. Just remembering who you are. Meanwhile, Mercedes is doing a complete 180. In 2023, they launched the C63 with a hybrid four-cylinder.
Yeah, that was just
like
stupid.
Expected, people hated it.
When you think of a C63, you think of that V8 sound, not some electric soulless engine. Or four-cylinder hybrid, as you call it.
The internet bullied it. But that's kinda obvious, right? We, the internet kids, just complain. We don't buy anything. But the thing is, people...
It literally goes from sounding like a roaring lion to a vacuum.
People who were supposed to buy it didn't. So now Mercedes is reportedly putting in an inline 6 or even a brand new flat.
The inline 6 still, it just doesn't suit it.
Which they are already testing.
I mean, I'd call a C63 a muscle car. When you think of a muscle car, inline 6 just isn't it. That's more sporty. Whereas a muscly car, it has to be V8.
Testing for the new CLE 6.
It has to have that roaring sound.
63 AMG. Yeah, a brand new V8 engine from Mercedes in 2025.
Yes, it's the right direction.
That's not whoops. That's survival instincts kicking in. Also, their EQ lineup flopped. The electric G-Wagon...
I mean, what did they expect?
The car is sitting like lead at dealers.
Oh, to be honest, I thought maybe it would be okay, but I'm guessing if the G-Wagon's going to be the same price, or the electric one's going to be the same price as a normal combustion one, it doesn't really make sense to buy.
It's a complete flop. Their actual words, not mine.
It's good that they're being real.
Next, a 1930s inspired concept. Words like tradition, timeless, iconic. In other words, we lost the plot, bring back the Mercedes-ness. About a year ago, Porsche announced they were killing the internal combustion engine in the next 7 years.
Yeah, that wasn't a good idea.
But now, the plan just changed. And that's not even the crazy part. Porsche is also developing 2 brand new cars that will launch with internal...
I'm really interested to see what they are if they're completely new.
Combustion and hybrid options only, not full EVs. And that's coming from a brand whose last all-new cars were electric.
Yeah, these electric Porsches, the Taycan and I forgot the other name, but they were just a complete flop. I think the only reason people bought them were from like a business incentive or like a government grant. Apart from that, why the hell would you buy it? I mean, I guess another reason is to get on the hierarchy so you can get a GT3 RS. But yeah, the car total flop. The fact that they went from like 130k and now it's like less than like 40k on Auto Trader or around that 40k mark. It's just ridiculous. Guess people just felt like they were forced to buy it. That's the only reason why they actually sold.
You see, their profits collapsed 99% this year. All the EV money they invested, not coming back fast.
Deserve it.
So they're pulling back. But this is not even about engines coming back, you know. Engines are just the fastest way to restore this Porsche-ness while they work on the next big thing. Plus, they're also cheaper to build. But at the same time, they're pouring cash into synthetic fuel development. And they're also working on...
Yeah, people would say that EV's the future. I just think synthetic fuel is, because look at the amount of people that just hate EVs and just despise them. I just think synthetic fuel would just be the more logical approach.
weird stuff like 6-stroke engines and W18s. To me, you know, it seems like Porsche is doing everything they can to protect the one thing China can't copy. The way a Porsche feels.
Yes,
and now you might be
100%.
thinking, what about the new Cayenne? It's electric. They literally just dropped it. Well, I'm guessing...
To be fair, that new electric Cayenne, it doesn't look like a bug. Key thing, when I say bug, I mean less of a bug. So I do understand why some people would get an EV. But again, personally, nah, I just don't see myself getting one.
I think that's just like the old plan. And they had to drop it because you can't just not drop a car that you've been working on for the last
Yeah,
3-4
pretty much have
years,
to.
right? But then again, Macan is their best-selling car. And 60% of all Macans sold this year were electric. So clearly there's a market for...
Yeah, it definitely is a market. I'm not saying
But
get
then
rid of
again,
it.
Taycan is not
Yeah,
selling well.
that one I just think
So,
people are forced
you know,
to.
it's kind of confusing. Probably even Porsche doesn't know what the hell is going on. So, yeah, we'll see. Toyota CEO straight up said a car is not a car if it's not fun. And boy, he
100%.
meant it. Because they literally just dropped the GR GT.
I like the look of it.
V8 supercar. That's insane.
Nah, but a V8 in a Japanese car, I'd say nah, that's like unheard of. Because when you think of a Japanese car, you think like 6-cylinder or a V6 or inline 6. So that's something new that they're doing to compete with, I guess, with like Mercedes and like the Dodge Vipers.
You know, to me, this is one of the most important pieces of automotive news in like, I don't even know how many years.
I'm interested to
Let's
see
not
how it
have
actually
in
performs, or
Look at their
see if people are
GR.
actually going to buy them.
Look at their motorsport presence. Look at how aggressively they're chasing excitement right now.
Yeah, Toyota is the one brand which I believe they're not jumping into this whole fully EV thing. They still have some nice sporty cars.
And they're not even hiding
He hasn't showed the GR86, but that's one car that I really like.
why. We can no longer sell cars just with model updates, slightly better fuel efficiency, or new designs. It comes down to your passion for making
Yeah,
products.
that car, I don't know why, I just like the look of it. But then there's one thing on my mind, I'm thinking, I was looking on Auto Trader and the prices. I think 30k for that car, yeah, it's overpriced. And around that money, you can get a 230i. I know you can get an M4, but I'm talking like newer cars. Would you rather have a GR86 or a BMW 230i? I'm talking about the G series ones.
That move people's hearts. Of course, sports cars need to be sleek, but unless that same passion can be found in other types of cars, you won't be able to reach customers. For Toyota, that's huge, you know, because when the rational stuff gets copied, matched, or, you know, beaten, then the only thing left to compete with is feeling. And Toyota gets it. And it's not just Japan or
100%.
Germany. Renault is actually interesting again. They
Okay.
brought back the 5, the 4, a new Twingo, all electric, but actually cool.
To be fair, I'm not really a
And their
Renault
Halo
fan.
car, the 5 Turbo 3E, more than
I know they were
500
big in rally
horsepower,
back in the day.
Rear-wheel drive, not a concept.
That I would say, yeah, that looks
actual
nice.
production car. Expensive as hell and limited,
Okay,
but
that's
a
a bit
production
wild.
car nonetheless. I mean, the fact that
I mean, when I first saw that just now, I thought, is it just one of those modern retro concepts? But for it to be an actual thing, that's actually nice to hear.
Renault has a Halo car is crazy.
The
They're doing
Halo is
what
wild
every
for
brand in
Renault.
this situation has to do. You know, grabbing a part of their identity people love and dragging it into the EV world.
But here's the thing, you're grabbing an old part of your identity. At what point do you make a new identity and have it be something that actually works?
In other news, Stellantis is reviving the SRT badge. Cadillac and Audi are entering F1.
Okay,
Because,
I don't really
well,
watch F1 to
when
be
you're
honest,
out
but that's
of ideas,
interesting.
You go racing. Plus, the Mustang GTD exists. And then there's BMW. Oh,
What are they doing?
BMW. They just dropped the Neue Klasse, a full-on homage to the old BMW design language. Say what you want, but this is exactly what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
I wouldn't say it looks
They're not
nice.
bringing back an E30. I literally asked them that. There's a whole video. Spoiler, the answer
guess
is
they
still
just
no.
don't.
But it is BMW remembering who they are. Maybe it doesn't look
Okay,
like
that concept
it.
looks
Not a
ugly.
big fan of the interior either.
Interior, I'd say I like modern day interiors. I just think like the old interiors where they have like those VS tape players there or the screen too low, it's just annoying. I mean, yes, you could argue those touch buttons, yeah, they can be annoying. But that, I'd say, looks really nice, the interior. And the tech as well, I like it. The main thing that I love about interiors is every car interior is black. When it's not black, it's unique. It actually stands out.
Giant screen, touch buttons, and electric door handles.
Like I said before, a giant screen is much better than a little screen tucked at the bottom or like the middle section.
Which kinda contradicts everything I've been saying in this video, but look at their marketing language. HyperSonX, sound design, technology with purpose, driving experience, heart of joy, responsive, feels like a sharp knife. They made an octopus commercial for a car.
I mean, I guess why some people would say they hate like techie cars is because of it taken away from the actual handling. But when I say I like tech interiors, I'm talking about the interior, not it actually controlling the car.
Computer, it got 12 million freaking views on YouTube. This is not normal car company behavior. This is identity first marketing. And we've seen it before. BMW in the 50s was basically dead. They tried luxury cars, nobody wanted them. Tried micro cars.
And you could call them somewhat luxury now.
They didn't want to be that. So they built a Neue Klasse. It saved the entire company. And what did BMW come up with when they created Neue Klasse? Freude am Fahren, driving joy, feeling, identity. That's where this comes from. And from this identity we got cars like O2, 3 Series, M cars.
Yeah, those, yeah, nice, this car.
Audi in the late 70s was nobody. So they built the Quattro, Turbo, all-wheel
legendary.
drive, rally. One car made Audi who they are today. Mercedes in the 90s had a different problem. BMW was the ultimate driving machine.
I've got to say, the car that stood out for me was the R8. I mean, yeah, when it first came out, I was a kid, but that's the car that actually made me like Audi itself. I wouldn't have been born around the time when the rally cars were popular.
It had RS models.
It's the Iron Man movie that blew it up for me.
Lexus almost beat them at their own luxury game. And the thing they were known for? Quality? Yeah, they had issues with that. So they joined with AMG, created cars nobody needed. And you know,
I mean, they are nice.
Japan in the 90s, Supra, RX-7, NSX, Skyline. They weren't made for profit, they were made for identity.
I remember everyone wanted German cars, Japanese cars back in the day.
Tiny econoboxes. The pattern
and now German cars, yeah, they're like classics now. You try to get one, way too expensive, so I understand why German cars are so popular nowadays. I was looking at a S15 Silver, it was like 50k. I was like, yeah, having a Japanese car nowadays is just a dream. It's like, and a German car is a reality.
It's always the same. Fun is a survival strategy. And hell, maybe we'll see some cool Chinese cars in the future. Like JDM, but this time CDM. Because China must also prove to the world that they can do fun shit, right? I don't know.
Sure they can.
But what I do know is brands don't rediscover themselves when things are good. They rediscover themselves when they are terrified. And right now,
that's what you should.
Every brand is terrified. So as strange as it sounds, we might be actually watching a real shift here in 2025. From efficiency first engineering to emotion first products. From specs to experiences. From global sameness to a regional identity of some sort. And the examples we cover today are just the first steps. You know, in my opinion, we'll see more and more headlines like those in the near future. But that could go either way. You know, this might be a start of a new era where brands actually start taking risks and build quality things, or it could all just turn into a show. Emotional branding.
I mean, I'm sure some are gonna actually work out.
Pretending to be something they're not.
Yeah, this whole like design where they actually try to force a car looking futuristic, that was a downfall. But interior wise, I do like the interiors.
Another truth we don't want to admit, the fun cars we get probably won't be cheap. Some of the stuff like Volkswagens, Renaults, Toyotas, you know, maybe. But the real stuff, like the things we actually want, you know, this will be expensive as hell.
Of course.
But what do you think? Drop it in the comments. And if this video made you even slightly more optimistic about cars, or not, hit that like, consider subscribing, and yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, this was a really good video, honestly. Go check out his channel, I loved this. Got me talking a lot. Yeah, the future for car brands is actually looking good for once. And hearing stuff like Renault actually having a flagship car, I did not expect that.